Hello and welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, to our virtual meeting, our virtual classroom actually. And today we're going over lesson 21-2. 21-2, which is percents and finding part of a whole. Percents, that is finding a part of a whole. This is our 46th lesson. If you're interested in the assignment, we're not doing. Number 8 is not assigned. I did take that one off. With that in mind, let's go ahead and continue. I'm assuming that you did pause the video and now we are free to continue. So we're going to follow the same formula that we've been following so far, where we're comparing two ratios. And on one side, we're going to have our percents, and on the other, we're going to have our part over our whole. Now, unlike last week, this week, we are going to be given the percent. All right, and we know that percents are always over 100. We can write them as something over 100. For example, if we're given something like 8%, that can be written as 8 over 100. That is where this first ratio is going to come from. As soon as you see that percent, you know that you can write that ratio as that number over 100. We're also going to be given the whole or the full amount, the original amount. All right, that is going to be always in the denominator because the whole is equivalent to 100%. All right, anytime you have the original amount or the full amount of something, that is your 100%. That is your full amount. And finally, we're going to be looking for the part. We're going to use equivalent ratios to see to find our part. For example, let us look at this example. It reads, determine what 15% of 649 is. Determine what 15% of $649 is. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I imagine that you've been to a store, and you've seen a sign over something that says 15% off or 30% off or whatever. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to calculate what the new price is, because you're obviously not going to buy it at full price. You're not buying it for 100%. You're buying it for some percentage off of that. So that is what we're going to be doing today. So in this example, let us suppose that you go into a store and you find a speaker that you want, and that is being offered for 15% off, and that's going to be 15% off of 649, meaning that $649 is the original amount. That is our original 100%, if you will. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, let us go ahead and do our first step where we're going to line up our equivalent ratios. So by now, you know we're always going to have two ratios. And so there's my two ratios. And we're going to put our percent over 100. So notice how they give us 15%. We want to know what 15%, so we're going to put that over 100, of 649 is. And in essence, I'm saying that 100% is 649. We want to know what 15% is. That is what we're wondering. That's what we want to know. And so that's why we set it up like this. Next, ladies and gentlemen, once we've set this up, let us go ahead and cross multiply so that we can build an equation. So on one side of my equation, I'm going to have one of my cross products, which in this case, that happens to be 100 times x. I have that right here. And on the other side of the equation, I'm going to multiply 15 times 649, which gives me this right here, 15 times 649. Now, having multiplied those two already, 15 times 649, that's going to give me 9,735. Really, that's going to be one of the longest steps, just multiplying this, making sure that that is correct. And 100 times x is just 100x. I don't know why I put a p here. That should just be an x, right? Now that I have an equation, ladies and gentlemen, we should know that when we're solving equations, we always need to isolate the variable. So on whichever side the variable is, so in this case, it ended up being here on the right side, I'm going to ignore this, and I'm going to ask myself, what do I need to do to have the x all by itself? So in this case, to get x all by itself, the opposite of multiplying by 100, I'm going to divide by 100, which is what we've been doing. So I'm going to divide by 100. However, whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other as well. So I'm going to divide 9,735 by 100, which is exactly what I'm doing down over here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there is a shortcut when you're dividing by 100. If and when you divide by 100, you're essentially what you're doing is that you're taking the decimal. If there's a decimal, you work from that decimal. In this case, because it's a whole number, the decimal's here at the end, and you're moving it over 2 times. So I'm going to move it over 2 times, and that's going to give me $97.35. That is going to be my value of my variable. Now, if you don't believe me, go ahead and work that out. You can actually do 9,735 and divide that by 100. However, you will find that your answer is going to be $97.35 either way once you work it all out. Again, when you're dividing by 100, it's like moving the decimal to the left. 2, just like multiplying by 100, it's like adding 2 more zeros. If you don't quite understand that, I hope you don't find that confusing. But yes, notice how my answer is, it's the same numbers, just with a decimal with moved over twice. What does this actually mean? If we look at the original ratio, so we had 15%. Our 100% was 649. And we were wondering, well, if 100% is 649, well, what is 15%? And we just said that 15% is $97.35. That means, ladies and gentlemen, that 15% of 649 is $97.35. Does that mean that the speaker is going to cost $97.35? That when you go to the store and you see 649, 15% off, oh, sweet, it's only $97. No, that is not what that means. That means that if you wanted to get the actual price of the speaker, you would take this 15% off. So you would do 649 minus the $97.35 to get the new price of the speaker. Think about it. In essence, I'm taking the 100% and I am subtracting what I found to be my 15%, and that'll give you the actual price of the speaker, or the new price of the speaker. Now, that was number 4 from our assignment. So if you needed to see that again or slower, feel free to rewind this video and go and see that on your own. Having done that, let's go ahead and go straight into our textbook. Let's go straight into our textbook or our OneNote notebook. And let's move on to number 9. And let me erase some of this so that we can do these again. This time, let's do them together. Give me 1 second. All right, number 9. And again, the numbers that we are doing here today are numbers 9, 12, 14, and 15. So let's go ahead and begin with number 9. Number 9, Isaac found a wireless microphone online at a sale price of 32% off. In other words, he's not going to pay for the full price. He's going to pay for whatever the full price is minus 32% of it. So let's go ahead and do letter A. What is 32% off of $250? In other words, the original price of the speaker or microphone, sorry, is $250. But we want to know what 32% of this amount is. So let's go ahead and write our 2 ratios, ladies and gentlemen. By now, you should know that we're going to have 2 ratios. And one of these ratios is going to be 32 over 100. Because 32%, we should know by now, 32% is the exact same thing as 32 over 100, right? All right, so that's my ratio. And then my 100% is given to me. My full price is $250. But I want to know what is 32%. What is 32%? I know that 100% is $250, 30% is something. All right, step number 2, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and cross multiply. We're going to multiply this times this and this times this, and let's make those equal to each other. So on the one hand side, I have 100 times x. It doesn't matter which side you put it on, 100 times x. And on my other, I'm going to have 250 times 32, which obviously is 8,000. I'm just kidding. You can actually work that out on your own, which I want you to work that out on your own. So that would be 250 times 32. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 2 is 4. Plus 1 is 5. 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. And we add everything together, and we get 8,000. All right. So again, on one side, I have 32 times 250, which is right here. And on the other side, I have 100 times x, which is right here. Now, what is always our goal when solving equations, and that is to isolate the variable. I want the x to be by itself, so I need to get rid of this times 100. The opposite of multiplying by 100 is to divide by 100. However, whatever I do to one side, I must also do to the other. So that leaves me with x is equal to whatever 8,000 divided by 100 is. So I can eliminate common zeros. I'm basically moving the decimal over twice. So that becomes 80 is equal to x. 80 is equal to x. Notice that what is 32% of 250? Well, 32%, so it's going to be $80. $80 is 32% off 250. Now, that's not the price of the speaker. That's just how much money we're getting off. That is 32%. All right. So now if we do 9B, 9B says, what is the final price after the discount? So we're going to take the original price, 250, and we're going to subtract the discounted, which is $80, and that should give us $270. That is going to be the price now after the discount. Because really, I took my 100%, which is 250, and I subtracted 32%, which was 80. So 250 minus 80 is 270. That is how a discount works, right? And we don't have to do C. And that's pretty much it. Let's look at number 12. Notice how number 12 has something really odd. All right, they're asking, well, what is 108% of 112? Let's follow the same rules. It's 108%. So it's a percent. And ladies and gentlemen, as soon as we see a percent, we should know to put that over 100. Can we have more than 100% of something? Yes, we can. We can. Anytime we have some more than the whole, it is more than 100%. For example, sometimes you see this happen where people will buy concert tickets. Like, let's say they bought a ticket for $50. And what they will do is that they'll turn around and send it and sell it for more than what they bought it for. So they're selling it for more than 100%. They want to make a profit. They want to make more money than what they spent. So they might sell it for 60, 70 or something. It's a lot more than what they bought it for. So that's important to keep in mind, that just because you see a percentage over 100, it's still going to be something over 100. And we want to take that off of 112. So 112 is my 100%. All right, it's almost like saying the full price is 112, but they paid 108%. And what is that? What is 108%? That's what we're saying. Well, let's go ahead and solve this the exact same way that we've done it. All right, let's cross multiply. So on one side, we're going to have 100x. And on the other, we're going to have 112 times 108. So 112 times 108. Let's go ahead and work that out. So we have 112 times 108. So 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 1 is 9. 8 times 1 is 8. So we're done with this. And we're done with this first row. Let's move on to the second one. 0 times 0, 0, 0, 0, right? We're done with the first row and the second row. And now 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. We add everything together and we get 6, 9, 10, 2, and 1. So we get 12,000. 100x will equal to 12,096. Awesome. So now we know how to solve equations. We always want to isolate the variable. So we want this variable to be all by itself. So I'm going to do the opposite of multiplying by 100, which is to divide by 100, thus isolating the variable. But whatever I do to one side of the equation, I must do to the other. All right, remember the shortcut. You can actually go ahead and divide 12,096 by 100, or you can just move the decimal over two spots. So that would give me 120 and 96. That means that, yes, what is 108% of 112? Notice how it's more than what I started with. So it goes down to 120 and 96. Follow that pattern. Follow that pattern. All right. So for the next one, ladies and gentlemen, can I get back to you?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm recording.
Yeah.
For the next one, ladies and gentlemen, I'm simply going to show you how to set it up, but I want you to do this on your own, where you will do the cross multiplication and you will isolate the variable on your own. Number 14, Isaac played a video game 20 times. So that's how many total times he played. He won about 70% of the games. How many games did he win? All right, so he didn't win all of them. He didn't win all 20, but let's see what 70% of 20 is. So 70%, so obviously that's going to be 70 over 100. And our 100%, the total games that he won, that he played is 20. But we wanted to know, well, what is 70? There it is, 70%. Well, what is that if over 20? There's actually two ways of doing this at least. But let's do the cross multiplication method. And then for 15, ladies and gentlemen, try it on your own. Try setting it up on your own, assuming that you already tried. So pause this and try it on your own. Notice how we have 85%, so that's going to be 85 over 100. And he took a test with 60 questions, so 60 total questions, so that's 100% of the questions. And if he got an 85, well, how many actual answers did he answer correctly? What is 85%? If 100% is getting all 60 right, 85% is getting how many right? And so, ladies and gentlemen, same thing. We've set it up. So now we would just have to cross multiply to make an equation and then solve it. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, please email me and I will get back to you in a timely manner. And that's pretty much it. I will see you soon.